Alright guys, hey, what's up? Spitfire again. Today I'm going to go over how I clean my rifles. This is the way I was taught. I mean, it's not rocket science, but this is the way I was taught by a guy that was a long-time bench rest shooter and a very successful gunsmith, and he was an extremely accuracy-minded guy, and that was his goal in life, was to get the most accuracy out of everything and just be a good shooter. So anyways, this is how I clean my rifles. What I got here is, this is one of my personal rifles that I built, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and it's on a Mauser action. This is the one and only Mauser I have. I always wanted a commercial FN action, so I found one and I built one. And it's a nice rifle. I like it. It's my main deer and coyote gun. It's a 6mm caliber. It's a Wildcat. It's a 606 modified. It's not a standard 606, so it's an awesome shooting gun, but I haven't cleaned it in a while, and I thought, what the hell, let's make a video. This is a Rock Creek stainless steel barrel. I really like this barrel. This is the only one I've gotten, is because I got it back when actually won a competition, and I got half-price barrel from Rock Creek, so that's what this guy is. The only problem is, ever since then, it's been a few years ago now, I think they took on some government contracts and some other stuff, but anyways, they're extremely backed up, and I know for a period of time there, they weren't even taking orders for new barrels. So, glad I got it. It's a nice shooting barrel, and I'm extremely happy with it. But let's get to cleaning this guy here. Alright, so I got everything set up here, and here's a few of the things we're going to need. A brush for your caliber, a little jag for your caliber, a cleaning rod, usually one that swivels, and a plastic coated one would be even better. Some bore solvent. This is Butch's. I like it. It seems to work out good for me. And this guy, this is a bore guide. I'm not going to use this one today because the cleaning rod I'm using here is just a tad bit short for this rifle. I have another cleaning rod, but it's in storage, so don't have it today. But I can't use this stainless rod with this bore guide because it's about 2 inches too short. So most of my hunting rifles are 26-inch barrels, and this is an extremely useful tool, and it works great to keep your chamber. You know, it keeps the rod perfectly through your chamber, so you're not nicking it at all anywhere. So normally you just slide that guy in the back, tight up against the back of your chamber, and then this collar on here slides up and down. So you slide this up tight against your chamber, lock that down, and some rifles you can put this little rod down into your where your bolt handle goes, but some of them might not. If you guys don't want to go out and spend the big bucks, like I think this aluminum bore guide cost me, it's either 30 or 40 bucks with a couple different inserts and stuff. If you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can get one of these guys. This is a little plastic one. I'm not sure who the maker is, but it's a caliber range specific, so I think this one is like 22 all the way up to like 26 caliber. They do goofy like 26 caliber stuff like that. But anyways, this guy cost me, I think it was 6 or 7 bucks. So cheap insurance, 6 or 7 bucks, versus if you don't want to spend the money on one of the big ones, or one of the aluminum ones. The only reason I got that one is because I got a lot of different rifles, a lot of different calibers, and I can use it on just about every one I have. This one you can only use it on a handful of them, so depending on how many you have, here's another option for you: plastic versus aluminum. That's what I would be using if I had my different rod, but today I'm not, so so I got my brass brush on here. I'm going to get a bunch of solvent on there. I drip down a little bit, and I'm just going to do this by hand. So you're going to carefully guide it in your chamber, and you can kind of guide it with your fingers and make sure that you're not running up against your chamber. And then when you do get to the end out there, you want the brush to go just far enough to where you can pull it back. And you don't want to let that rod drop down on your rifling, because then you're going to get, over a period of time, you'll get, that rifling will get worn off. I've done recrowned quite a few rifles that have, 100-year-old, not 100-year-old, but a lot of like old sporter rifles and stuff from the 50s and 60s. Guys that have cleaned them for the past 50 years, they'll just run that rod all the way through there, and then once the brush gets through, it'll drop down on the end of the rifling, and you can literally see, if there's rifling down there, you'll literally see that worn away from that rod dropping down on it. So, I mean, it's not a matter of doing it once or twice, it's a matter of doing it several hundred times over the course of a long period of time. So anyways, so I ran this brush through there several times. And we'll take a look here and see what it looks like. I usually like to wipe my rod off, and I think this guy's pretty clean, and some of this could be from the brush, but when I'm done with my brush, I like to spray them off with brake cleaner. I don't have any here tonight, so I won't be using that, but you can see there's some gunk on there. Crap out of the bore. So then we'll switch over to our jag. Pretty simple stuff here. Jag. And then caliber, close to what your caliber, you want to use patches. These are cotton patches. These aren't like the stretchy cotton patches. I don't like those. These are like cotton t-shirt, like a hard cotton t-shirt patches. They're stiff and they're like stringy, or they got threads in them, actual threads instead of like elastic or whatever the hell it is. So there's a, so that'll come out there. So we do the same thing. Shoot that guy through there, let the rod spin, and it should come out. And then I got a rag here. You probably didn't see it, but I had a little drip of solvent come out of there. So same thing here too. We don't want to let our rod just plop down on our rifling. Push it out just far enough to get that patch off. And here's a patch. It's pretty, not super clean, but dirty. I can't remember last time I cleaned this, but I've got, I don't know, I've probably got at least 30-40 rounds through this rifle since the last time I cleaned it. So I usually run a few patches through there. And there again. And then too, clean the muzzle off a little bit. Clean a little bit more if you can see it. So there we go. So basically you can keep running your brush through there. You know, now that I got it patched out, I can brush it out again if I want and keep going. Brush, patch, whatever, until you think you get it to where you want it to be. Alright, one last thing to do before you put this away, and probably before you oil it, is this right here. What I got here is just a brush, and you wrap a patch around it. I think this is a 30 caliber brush. You can go 8mm, a little larger, but this, all we're doing here is we're going to run it in the end here and clean out the chamber. I could have had a little tighter fitting patch, but this one's working pretty good. So what we're doing, we're just wiping that chamber out. And what you can see here is that, if you can see that, we got a little bit of soot and crap in there. So keeping your chamber clean is a big problem too, because if you don't keep that chamber clean, you're going to have, or you could have, extraction problems, especially with like semi-automatic rifles, a lot of the Remingtons and the Winchesters and stuff like that. They tend to get dirty, people don't clean them, chambers get dirty, they don't extract. One thing I forgot to mention on this guy is, after I get done cleaning it, being that this is a stainless barrel, and it's a well-known barrel maker, not a Remington. I've seen Remington stainless steel barrels rust. So it's always a good idea to oil your bore if you're not going to be shooting it for a while, and then patch it out right before you shoot it, because you don't want that stuff in your bore when you're shooting it. This one, because it's I've never seen like a Krieger or Harge or Rock Creek rust, so I'm not too worried about rust on this guy. So I'm not going to oil it. I've seen a lot of rifles that have been cleaned and then you get the bore scope on them and they aren't clean. I've seen a lot of rifles come into shops that don't shoot good. People bring it into Gunsmith and they say, hey, what's wrong with my rifle? It's not shooting very good. And what the problem is that they either didn't clean it or they did a poor job of cleaning it. It usually tends to be like copper fouling. Powder fouling, not so much, but copper fouling, if you get a really copper fouled barrel, it's tough to just get copper out just by doing this. What you got to end up doing is, Butch's works pretty good. You brush it and you leave it sit. You let that solvent sit in there for several hours, and then you patch it out, and then you can do the same thing with another brush and wait and patch. A lot of times that'll take care of it. If that doesn't take care of it, you can get things like Sweets. Sweets does a pretty good job of copper fouling. And let me see if I got it. This stuff here, Wipeout. I really like Wipeout. It's a foaming cleaner. It works really good. You can dump it in, or you shoot it in the end of the bore, or how I do it is I shoot it in the end of the bore, and then you can leave it sit for a day or 2 days even, and then you patch it out and it gets a lot of crap out of there. I pretty much use this on my one F-class rifle that I use, my long range F-class rifle that I use, because when I'm done shooting it for an extended period of time, I'll run that stuff through there and I'll clean it, and it does a really good job of getting all the crap out of there. And I got a nice clean bore, so next time I can shoot a few foulers. I usually shoot, your 5 rounds on your first, on your 5 sighters or whatever. You're usually fouled good enough to go. So, but yeah, that's basically basic cleaning. There's not much to it. Just remember, if your gun isn't shooting the way it should be, it's probably a cleaning issue, and you got to take your time, and you got to take more time cleaning it out. I had one barrel that, I think it was a Black Star. It was an old company. I don't think they make barrels anymore, but it was a 7mm Magnum, and it was a heavy varmint taper, and that thing, when I first got it, it was shooting literally like, I shot a 5-round group one time. It was 0.2 of an inch at 100 yards off a bench, which is pretty good. And I shot it some more, and I use it as a hunting rifle. And the next year I went to shoot it, and I thought, oh, I'll shoot another, sub half-inch, sub quarter-inch group. And I went to shoot it, and it didn't shoot very well. It shot like 0.6 of an inch, somewhere in that half-inch to 3/4 of an inch. So what happened was it copper fouled really bad, and I spent probably a week making sure, not a week, a couple days making sure that it was all cleaned out and all that copper was gone. The only reason I found out, other than not shooting good, is I had a bore scope. I looked at it, and yeah, it was really badly copper fouled. So I got it cleaned up and it started shooting again. So there's a little FYIs for you. Anyways, that's cleaning a rifle the way I clean a rifle most of the time. Like I said, just be careful of your bore. If you can use a bore guide, it's great. Make sure you got a rod that's long enough for your barrel, and watch your muzzle end down there. So, till next time, if you got any videos you want me to see or do, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, feel free to share it or comment, and until next time, see you guys later. Thanks.